Hey, Millbrook fans, I am hoping you can hear me now. If you're out there, leave a comment. I'm going to bring the cast in. I apologize. We've literally never had a problem until I upgraded with this. So let me see. If you're out there, Millbrook fans, let me know that you can hear me. I'm going to keep... Yes, yay. So I'm here. Now I just got to get everybody from the other one to here. See, you pay extra money to get the bonus features and they don't work. So I am going to be back in 2 seconds. We're not going to end this. I'm just going to put you on hold. Well, I don't know how to do that. So, hey, everybody, how's everybody surviving Coronaville? Everybody doing good? Anybody? Great. Sounds good. You can hear me. So cast, if you're listening, I just sent you a new link to join me on this one. My wonderful Millbrook fans, if you are out there, thank you for being patient. And I'm going to keep going. Let me see. Invite, copy, Courtney. There we go. There's Patrick. Let's see if we can get Courtney on. We got Patrick. Hi, Patrick. We're going to bring Patrick on in a second. Don't we want to be live? Don't we all want to be live? Don't we all want to go back to a theater? Do all this stuff? All this virtual stuff is for the birds. Courtney, is she here? Joey's there. Oh, my God. Here we are. Courtney.
Hi.
You can hear me. I can hear you.
Hi.
Hi, guys.
We're here.
Woohoo! I've been sitting in this chair for like an hour, mentally preparing. I have every video ready. I have everything ready. We spent the extra money to like do this extra one, and it's all screwed. But anyway,
you know what? We're all here.
We're all here. It's on my laptop.
Corona life.
Look at, there's Stephen. We have wonderful people on hold. So Courtney, I want to see, how are you doing? Where are you? Tell our Millbrook audience where you are right now.
So P.S. I have a gnome in the room with me. His name is Steven Sear. Some of you.
I wasn't sure Stephen would be. Stephen, show your face.
I don't know that he will.
Okay.
Just use your voice, Steven. Say hello.
Hello.
That was Steven. That's all he's gonna give us, like a good techie.
Like a good techie.
That's right.
Tell everybody who Steven is so they know.
Steven is my partner in love and my partner in art. Steven, for all of you Millbrook fans who saw Newsies this past summer, Steven was the set designer for Newsies. He also was a set designer for Fox and the Fairway. I was like, that other great Ken Ludwig play. And so Steven, and he's, been around the Playhouse for as long as I have, really. So Steven and I have been in Topeka, Kansas, which is my hometown, staying with my dad and my stepmom and my younger sister since the end of March, as we decided to spend some time with family in this unprecedented time of pandemic coronavirus craziness. So we've been here for several months now.
Several months. And what have you been doing to occupy your time?
That's a good question. I have been doing a lot of actually what Steven and I like to do most, which is think. Steven and I like to think about things a lot and have lots of conversations, deep conversations. And certainly we're in a time in the theater industry that really requires a lot of thought and a lot of sort of like innovative outside the box creativity on what sort of like the next steps for us as an industry are going to be. So honestly, there's been a lot of that, a lot of thought and conversation going on. I've been reading like a crazy person.
Good for you. I've been watching a lot of TV. I haven't really been like a good student. I've been watching TV.
I've tried not to. I'm really good at sitting on the couch and watching TV. So for me, I think I haven't watched a lot of TV, but that's also been occupying a lot of my time.
Cool. Well, listen, we miss you. It's been a crazy time, and I know this summer you were starting a new job as an artistic director at a wonderful place, and that didn't happen. And we chatted a little bit through the whole thing, and I've been chatting with my friend John Saunders today. We chatted. It's been a crazy time for us theaters, but so that's why we're trying to do this. We did a little bit with our kids. A group wrote a show specifically to go online, so our youth ensemble did that back in April, May. And then we did a little, Rob came back and he's like, let's do Leading Ladies live. And Ken Ludwig gave us the rights, and he was able to do the whole show. It just took us 2 months to get the rights. So I figured, let's just try this Fun Home thing and see how it goes, because it's a lot of fun. It gives us a little chance to do something. It gives our audience a chance to reconnect. And I do kind of want to focus on Fun Home and specifically. So prior to Fun Home at Millbrook, you were our Disney princess, and then post you are a Disney princess. So it's fun. So
I'm like the least like.
And I know, and that's why you're my favorite Disney princess, because that is not your thing, and that's why you make those shows so interesting. But so I wanted to ask, when you found out we were doing Fun Home, what was like your first thought, and what made you want to direct the show?
I think that a lot of times I when I talk to people about sort of my chosen vocation, I talk about how as a director, musical theater is my love. It's my passion. But really, like any good true love story, it's sort of love and hate. So there's a certain amount of like love and hate that I have for musical theater. And I guess maybe the best way to say it is I have really high standards for it, because I am so passionate about the form of musical theater. And Fun Home is a musical that I think is just so like, if ever you could call like a piece of musical theater perfect, I think Fun Home is in the runnings. I just think it's so beautiful and really simple in an age of where Broadway can be, and always has been, but certainly now notwithstanding, current times notwithstanding, Broadway is lavish and luxurious and extravagant and costs a lot of money. And then there was this little underdog of a show called Fun Home that is simple and beautiful and so well done. So as a director, a show like that comes up and you're going to pounce on it anyway, but then add the unique circumstances that I'm sure you want to talk about as well, of Fun Home being new and Fun Home being in Mill Hall and the Beach Creek area, and the sort of unique circumstances that comes along with that.
Yeah. Cool. So when we talked, because like we chatted and it was like, you did 2 years in a row, and I was like keeping it open, because obviously like it was a regional premiere and not a lot of people did it. When I said I want you to direct it, were there any trepidations? Were you concerned with doing this show in a Millbrooks? And we did set it up a little bit. We had a little more time for this, knowing that it was going to be this unique thing. But did you have any concerns about trying to put this up in a summer stock setting with all the craziness? Although technically, I guess now that I asked that question, technically it's less than any other show you did. So that way it would be simpler, because we're not flying or swimming or all that stuff. But in terms of emotionally,
interestingly enough, like I said, because I think the show is so flawless in many respects, it feels like it didn't require as many solutions to be found. You know what I mean? It feels like what was on the page and was already so beautiful, and it was just, it became our job, the entire design team, the creative team, and all of the actors in the room as we created to just try and be really in tune with the sort of beauty of this work. So it's an interesting question. I think in some ways, like you said, it was a lot easier actually, because it was such great material, and the show is sort of smaller and simpler, but harder in the sense that I think there was a lot of responsibility that we all had in taking on a project under these circumstances.
Great, cool. Well, I have a million questions, but like I have the cast on hold. So I had this all scheduled. I had this stage managed. It is so frustrating. I hate it.
That's the world we live in right now. We got to roll with it.
Well, and I always tell myself, like, the judgments I had before I became an artistic director about artistic directors in theaters, I like learned quickly to check those. I was watching somebody doing one of these video things, and the last 2 times I did use this program were flawless. And then I'm like, we're fabulous, and then all of a sudden it goes to shit. So here we are, judge not, children. So truly, right? So we have a wonderful group of people that are going to come on right now. I'm going to bring on the cast. Okay, so I'm hiding these comments. So we have Jamie Beth. Jamie Beth is here. I'm trying to get rid of this. Oh God, like this comment thing. All right, we got John. We got Steven. We got Anya. Where's Sam? Sam Carroll is not even on here yet. She was watching. She's commenting. Where is Sam?
She was. I saw comments. Sam, click the link.
She's a spectator on Facebook.
She's just not going to join us.
She played. I don't. What role did she play? It was a very small role.
I know it was a small role. We since I can get more people, Joey was going to come on later, but we're going to bring Joey, all grown up. I'm trying.
Oh my God, Joey!
Do we know where Sam Carroll is? Anybody?
Sam Carroll.
Guys, Sam, you're there. Sam, I sent him your name. Is Alex Fox around? We can bring out. So guys, just be aware that there's a lot of us on, so there's going to be a lot of ambient noise. So if you have a lot of ambient noise behind you, just kind of mute when you're not talking, or try to be quiet. All right. So we're going to go through, and we're going to say hi. Where are you, Sam? I sent her.
I'll text her.
Okay.
She's playing with her bulldog.
All right.
Playing with Stanley.
So, Jane, we're going to start with Jamie Beth. Jamie Beth, introduce yourself and tell us where you are right this second.
Ooh, sure. My name is Jamie Beth Weiss. I am right this second. I'm sitting in front of my parents' farm. I figured that was nice for the parallel in Leidholdt, Pennsylvania.
Great. I'm going to bring on Sam. Hey, Sam.
I'm sitting in front of my parents' farm. I figured that was nice for the parallel.
So, Jamie Beth, we may be having a little feedback with you. So I'm going to mute you for 2 seconds to see. That's not working.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Sam's here.
Sam's here. All right. Hey. I don't know what's Sam. Hi, Sam. So let's go next to Anya.
Hi, I'm Anya Rothman, and right now I'm just at my house in Clairvaux, Virginia, so haven't moved during quarantine, luckily.
Oh my gosh, you've gotten so big, it's crazy. And then next to Anya, we have who? Say your name. That's Steven. Steven, can you see?
Yes. Hey, guys. Hey, I'm Steven Macropolis, and I am currently in my really hot apartment in Astoria, New York.
Woohoo!
Wait, I see your car, Steven. Your car's...
My what? No! I fixed it, I swear.
Okay, good.
I just took the spark plug out. That's it. That was the only thing I just shut it up.
Okay.
I didn't fix it. I just did surgery on it. That's about it.
Good.
So, and down we have the one and only Miss Sam Carroll. Sam, say hello.
Hi, everyone. Sorry, I don't know what I'm doing.
Listen, I thought I knew what I was doing and I didn't. So, there we go.
My husband's in tech. We still couldn't figure it out. So here we are.
John and I literally stepped in. We were on a half hour before. Everything is crazy.
I have some sake, just hanging out. Also sweating in Queens, Steve.
Sweating in Queens. It sounds like a fun pastime.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So, and then Joey, we're moving people around because we're having some people kicking people in and out. Everybody just follow. We're going to get through this, whether we love it or not. And then where's John? John, say hello. And then Joey.
Hi, I'm Jesse, and I played Bruce, and it's great to see everyone be back at.
Great. Hi, I got rid of that stupid thing. And then Joey, say hello.
Hi, I'm Joey Watkins. Right now I'm in my basement right now, and in Mentorsville, Pennsylvania.
He's a bass.
Hi, Joey. Hi.
Hey, Joey and Anya, how old are you guys now?
I'm 14.
I'm 17.
Oh my God.
Oh, and I'm 19. Wow.
Good. So, hey, we introduce everybody? We got everybody. I want to make sure our audience is still there. So if you guys can there's a private chat. So as we go through this, I can message you guys. We have a couple people on hold. So we're going to get right into it because obviously we're a little behind. I want to ask you all, and we're going to go one at a time. I'm going to start with you, John. What is the first thing you thought when you found out we were doing Fun Home? What went through your mind?
What an amazing question. When I heard that Fun Home was being done regionally, I jumped at the opportunity, but also in the town where it's taken place historically and with the people and with everything. So it was just really perfect, and I couldn't believe that it was happening. And so when I heard that this was happening, I put my name in the ring, and then Courtney was involved, and good things flowed.
Good things float.
Because John and I loosely knew each other. We were acquaintanced with each other is what it was.
Yeah.
But
We do. I realized who we lost. Kaylee Haynes. Kaylee Haynes, if you're listening, find the new link. I lost her in the old broadcast. So Kaylee, if you're out there, she may not be able to. I may have too many people on hold. So Ethan, I may kick you out for a second because I can only so many people, and Jamie Beth's going to come back in. So Ethan, I'm going to kick you out for a second. This thing is weird. It works great when you have it. Jamie Beth's back. Hi, Jamie Beth. Yay. So we're going to ask another question. So guys, feel free to chime in with some ideas and thoughts that you had about doing the show. We all know that we have the opportunity to do this show in the town where it happened, right? So it's very meta. We really had this kind of unique experience. John, I'm going to go back to you a little bit. Tell us what happened when you came in town and you were going to you found the house where it took place. So tell us a little bit about the story about that. So
another perfect flow thing happened, and I learned about VRBO. I still don't know how to pronounce VRBO, so I just spell it out. And the house was on or is on VRBO, and I said, "Wow, we gotta do this." So, and it's right there. It's like 2 miles away or 5 miles away. How far away from Millbrook is it? Maybe?
Like 15 minutes at the most, I think.
Well, the way Jamie Beth drives, it was like 5 minutes away. So, we and this house, the current owners have updated it slightly to their taste and their decor, but most of the house that Bruce and Helen made with their children is still there. I mean, the amazing thing is the three names, Allison, John, and Christian, are written in the concrete of the foundation of the basement floor. And that was just amazing. And then Courtney had this idea that we should rehearse in the house. So we rehearsed in the house in real time, and Stephen and I did a rather intimate scene in this room, and then the children did another scene in their room, and then Jamie Beth was at this piano doing a Helen scene, and we're in the house recreating the show Fun Home as if it was in live real time. It was absolutely.
There was an upright piano, and Patrick, our music director, we like put him in the hallway, which was kind of in the center of the floor, and had him then accompany as you guys play the scene. And John, I don't know if you remember this, but like other members of the cast and crew and design team like were invited to hang out during the rehearsal, and they just like wandered through the space as we performed it, sort of. So it was this like incredibly.
But even nothing against Sleep No More, but it was even better because it was the real place, you know?
In the room where it happened.
Somebody should write a song about that. Somebody should write a song about that.
I'll get right on it.
So, Sam, going to you, how did that inform you? Did it change anything? Did you discover anything new for your character?
I mean, it changed everything. It had me picture it, and it's not just, Kaylee!
Hi.
Kaylee!
Hi. We all read the, or we should have anyway, the book, what's it called, Courtney? How do you,
Fun Home?
The type of tragic comedy. There we go. Well, we all. All right. Thank you, Steve.
Oh, I didn't even know you can hear that. I was just like,
graphic novel, yeah.
Yeah. Graphic novel.
That's what you wanted.
I mean, we even got pictures and everything, but to see it, and not only, I have friends texting me saying, graphic novel. Thank you. Just to see it, and the fact that it was actually theirs, Meg Mercer, one of the coolest experiences, and truly brought the show to a different level for me, especially one of the hardest shows I've ever done, because just kind of being an outside character, like kind of narrating, but also a part of it. It was extremely helpful and also really freaking fun. And just it's really cool that, I still, yes, thank you, Patrick, graphic novel. We all got it now. For including us in that without even knowing any of us, probably paying good money for it too. So thank you.
Kaylee, welcome, Kaylee. We're glad you found us. Sorry about the mishap. Tell everybody hi, introduce yourself, and tell them where you're at. Tell our audience where you're at.
I'm Kaylee. I'm at my house in Lock Haven, Pennsylvania. I was stuck on a ship for a while, and then I got back home, and I've been home for about 3 months now. Thank God.
Great. And you're doing well.
Keeping myself sane.
Keeping it. So, Kaylee, I want to ask you, because you're from this area, you grew up in Brook, you grew up in the area, and then you played a character that had to have intimate scenes on stage with another woman. Did you ever feel anything from the audience? Did you ever feel any pushback? Was there ever any kind of any night that felt odd? Was there any trepidation about doing that?
Not really. And even if there was, I don't care enough, I think, this town, I think because it's a small town, people grew up here, everyone's going to have a different mindset as living in the city. But I think it's pretty good here. And I think no one really gave us, or at least me, slack for anything that happened on stage or commented anything weird. No. And when I'm on stage, I honestly, I don't, not that I don't pay attention to the audience, but I'm in the moment on stage and not paying attention to what they think, because it's not my job. Well, it is, but it's not my job for them to not feel uncomfortable if they're going to feel uncomfortable. And I've had more intimate moments with men that were like more intimate, and so like there's no difference, you know,
Cool.
for me.
No different. So listen, we have one of our. We're only missing. I think Dane is going to show up at some time. Dane has grown up. He's like doing
That
football.
star.
I don't like that.
I know. We'll see what comes up. But you had a scene. We have most of the cast. There's somebody missing. Holly Gold, who was your love interest in the show. And she unfortunately couldn't be with us today, but she did send. So this is going to be the next tricky thing because I switched computers and all the videos are on my other computer, but I think I got them over. So I am going to. We promised our audiences a couple clips. So Holly sent a beautiful video of her number from New York. So we're going to switch over to that if I can make sure this happens.
And hey, don't forget to mute everybody else. Don't forget to mute your mics when we're listening to stuff, I'd say.
So yeah.
Okay.
Let me see. Hopefully this works. Okay, we're going to get there again. So we're going to keep going. No, that's not working. There. Oh my God. StreamYard, you're killing me. Okay. So we're going to keep going. Joey, I'm going to work this out, but Joey, I'm going to ask you this question. All that whole itinerary is gone to the wolves, so don't worry about it. Joey, there was an accident that happened on stage for you when you were little. You were on there. So tell our audience about that story.
I forget if it was opening night or the second night, but it was during Come to the Fun Home, and I had to jump over the casket, and my foot kind of got caught and smacked. And I hope I forget this, but I think I played it off.
You did.
But it hurt very bad. It hurt.
Yeah.
You took it so well.
I thought you landed in between. I thought you landed right on the family goods. You know, I thought that's what happened. But you didn't.
Yeah. Luckily, yeah. It was like right here on my knee, like right here. Like it was.
And you went on like a star, right?
Fun times, yeah.
You totally did. It was one of those devastating moments where like. It was one of the early on performances because I was still there.
Mm-hmm.
But it
I
was.
remember we heard it.
Joey.
We heard the boom and bang from backstage because I wasn't in that scene, and it was like, what happened? And then it was like Joey hurt himself somehow, but you were great because you handled it, and luckily you were fine. So that's good.
Because it was even pretty early on in the song. And you you finished the entire song out.
Yeah. Joey handled that much better than when Steven and I gave Joey and Dane a swig of apple cider vinegar.
Oh.
And
goodness.
Mine, it wasn't alcohol. It was just apple cider vinegar.
I was like, was that a euphemism? Because it's so... I don't want to be a part of it.
Even I used to drink.
I'm leaving.
And honey. And so Joey and Dane were like, "Hey, I want to try that."
Yes.
No. And it's not alcohol. It's not alcohol. It's just apple cider vinegar.
Yeah, I was on a weird apple cider kick. Me and Holly, and then John as well. I think most of us. Yeah. I actually haven't had apple cider vinegar since that damn show.
Oh.
We should go back. We should all go get a glass of apple cider vinegar.
Oh God, my stomach is already acting up.
Yeah, I know.
And honey.
So I'm back, guys. Sorry, I'm trying to get Holly working. So I'm going to go around the room and I'm going to ask this question. And this is a fun one. If you could have lunch with any one of the characters from the show, who would it be and why? We're going to start with Courtney.
Hang on, I'm thinking of my answer here just real fast. I mean, I feel like oh, you know what? I'm going to not answer the question. Actually, I'm going to only kind of answer it. My answer is going to be Sam Gold. I know he's not a character in the show, but I'm going to break the rules and I'm going to say I want to sit down for lunch with Sam Gold, who was the original director of Fun Home.
Ah, all right.
I cheated. Sorry. Wait, hang on. I think David, do you want me to pass it around to people as your? Yeah. Okay, great. All right, John, you want to go next?
Sure. Wow, that's a big question. I mean, obviously, I would love to sit down with Bruce and talk with Bruce, and that would be amazing. And also Helen. So I'm going to say Bruce.
Because both Bruce and Helen have now passed away. You know, when Allison was first writing Fun Home, Helen was still alive, but by the time it opened on Broadway, she wasn't. Yeah.
And we did use a program that Helen Bechtel was in from Millbrook, The Importance of Being Earnest. And that was amazing. And I do have one of Bruce Bechtel's books that Savannah got. I know I'm showing merch, Sam, but that was brilliant. So I never met Bruce, but I have his book.
Where did she find that again?
She found this at I think there was a church that had this big book sale.
And is his inscription in it or something?
There is the Bruce. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Bruce Bechtel imprint. And then there are little scribbles that I doubt that he did. Oh, you can't see it in my light. But there are
so cool
scribbles that I bet Allison or John or Christian did. And knowing Bruce, they probably got a big screaming at for scribbling in his book. But,
let's keep passing it around. Yeah, Steve, you want to go next? I'm going around like the Brady Bunch.
Sure. All right. I think Bruce as well. I'd like to talk to him about open concepts and HGTV. I think he'd have a lot to say about like general home improvement. His house is beautiful. He did a great job with it. And it seems like that'd be something he'd love to talk about. I think it'd be weird to talk to any of these characters about their personal life. So I kind of figured, who can I talk about on something sort of surface level, but something they're passionate about? So Bruce, HGTV.
That's brilliant.
That's what I'm thinking.
Kaylee girl, what about you?
I was gonna joke and say Steven's character in Raincoat of Love.
Bobby Jeremy.
That's a good
Jeremy.
But I guess I'll say Joan because she's not too much in the musical, and I heard that she's a lot different than she is in the musical, so I'd like to know what she's actually like. Because she's portrayed a lot differently than she is in real life. So I'd like to do that.
Right. Cool. Jamie Beth?
I'm going to say economically Big Allison, because then I essentially get like 3 characters in one, because she's had all the experiences of small and medium. So I'm getting the most bang for my buck.
So present day Allison Bechtel, like Allison Bechtel 2020, or Allison Bechtel like when she wrote Fun Home?
Ooh, good question. I'm going to say when she wrote Fun Home, since that was when she was a character.
Cool. Sam?
I'll go ahead and say Helen Bechtel, because I would just bring some tissues and get ready to listen, So here's the saddest story I've ever heard. But anyway.
Yeah. Joey?
I would say Bruce, because I think he was such a complex person, and I just want to hear like his story, just hear about it, just listen by his perspective and all that.
Yeah, absolutely. And last but certainly not least, because we haven't heard from you in a bit, Anya. Anya, what about you?
I would probably have to say I would want to talk to Allison, because I feel like she's like really had an impressive like career, and I feel like it's really brave to like publish those books that are so personal to her, and as a Gryffindor, like I respect that. So and I would just want to talk to her, and like
yeah, definitely. David, what about you?
Great. Oh, me? I didn't even think. I I think Bruce. Well, I would want Bruce and Helen. I'd want to do dinner, and I'd want to do them separately because I'd want to like talk to Helen about working here, and I would want to talk to Bruce about what it would be like being a man in their 40s, being gay, like trying to like living in Lock Haven as an adult man right now, what that would have been like in 1979, 1980. So I'd love, so both. I'd like to do them separately and then have a dinner party and see how that went.
That's great.
That's a whole other musical.
It's a whole other David and Bruce and Ellen. Okay, so listen, I think I have this working. So I'm going to try to share the screen and we're going to disappear for a moment. Hopefully, if this works right, and we're going to see a little changing our major. Is it on? Oh my God, great. And I'm going to.
What happened last night? Are you really here? Joan, 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 Joan. Hi, Joan! Don't wake up, Joan! Oh my God, last night. Oh my God, 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 last night. I got so excited. I was too enthusiastic. Thank you for not laughing. Well, you laughed a little bit at one point when I was touching you and said I might lose consciousness, but you said both adorable, and I just have to trust that you don't think I'm an idiot or some kind of an animal. I never lost control due to overwhelming lust, but I must say that I'm changing my major to Joan. I'm changing my major to sex, Joan. I'm changing my major to sex with Joan, with a minor in kissing Joan. Foreign studies, Joan. In her thighs, a seminar on Joan's ass. In her Levi's, in Joan's crazy brown eyes. Joan, I feel like Hercules! Oh God, that's so ridiculous. Just keep on sleeping through this, and work on coming down, so by the time you've woken up, I'll be cool, I'll be collected, and I'll have found some dignity. But who needs dignity? This is so much better. I'm radiating happiness. Will you stay here with me for the rest of
Sorry.
the semester? We won't need any food. We'll live on sex alone. Sex with Joan. I am writing a thesis on Joan. It's so cutting edge field, and my mind is blown. I would gladly stay up every night to hold my closely skilled Joan. I will study my way down her spine, familiarize myself with her well-made outline, while she researches mine. I don't know who I am. I've become someone new. Nothing I just did is anything I would do. Overnight, everything changed. I am not prepared. I'm dizzy, I'm nauseous, I'm shaky. I'm scared. Oh, am I falling into nothingness or flying into something so sublime? I don't know, but I'm changing my major to Joan. I thought all my life I'd be alone, but that was before I was grown in a storm with Joan. Look, she rolled on the pillow, so sweet, all swaying and tangled up in my bed sheets, and my heart feels complete. Let's never leave this room. How about we stay here till finals? I'll go to school forever. I'm changing my major to a
Well,
That's my girlfriend.
there we are. Yay, yay. So that was amazing. It's great to revisit. Now we're going to bring our wonderful music director, Patrick Hoagland. Hey, Patrick.
Hi.
Yay.
Patrick!
How are you guys doing?
Good, good. Patrick, introduce yourself. Tell us where you are and all that. And I'm going to boot Joey for a minute. I'm going to try to get Ethan back on. So.
Hi, I'm Patrick Hoagland. I'm currently in Ohio weathering the pandemic. So that's exciting.
Patrick, what were you doing just before this?
So
Like,
I was conducting the first national tour of the SpongeBob musical.
Oh.
And working with Tina Landau and Julie McBride, which was pretty freaking incredible. But needless to say, that got canceled. we were getting ready to open at the Dolby Theater in LA for a three-week run, and 1 week before that, all the stay-at-home orders started getting issued, and we were like, "Oh, okay."
To Ohio you go.
Yeah.
And we also have another new guest. And Joey, you could check back in a little bit and we'll bring you back on. And if Dane ever comes on, we'll bring you on. The whole itinerary is different. So Ethan, introduce yourself and tell everyone who you are.
Hi, I'm Ethan Vale. I was the lighting designer. In fact, Fun Home was my last show of a 6-year time span at Millbrook.
And Ethan, like, so coming into it, you designed every show up until, like, how many shows total? Do you remember?
I had a count at one point. I think it was 70 something.
70 something.
Wow! Just at Millbrook.
Just at Millbrook. Wow. For 6 years. So Ethan preceded me by 2 years. Then he was here when I was here for 3 years. And then he moved on, and tell everybody where you are right now and what you're doing when we're not in COVID land.
I'm in sunny but hot as hell Florida right now, in Sarasota, Bradenton area. I'm the master electrician at Oslo Repertory Theater, which is a Lort B theater in Sarasota here. We actually... We're literally in the middle of our rep season. We do rotating rep when COVID hit and had to close 2 weeks early our rep season. We were also in the middle of tech for another show and had to stop teching that show in the middle of that when everything went down. So we also canceled our other 2 world premiere musicals that we were going to be doing afterwards. Knoxville, which is by the same lyricist and music that did Ragtime, Lynn Ahrens and Steve Flaherty, as well as Frank Galati, who was the original Ragtime director. He was the book writer and director for Knoxville. But we will be doing that next season. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Patrick, back to you, just to throw a question at you. So what was different about Fun Home for you in terms of musically? And there's something tricky about Changing My Major to Joan. What is specifically about that song that's different than all the other songs?
Well, I mean, the thing about that song is there's just a lot of give and take and push and pull between the singer and the band, which is, I mean, it's a pretty challenging song especially to play and conduct at the same time.
Yeah. Is it not all in 3/4? Am I wrong in that?
No, it is. It is in 3. Yeah.
Tempo, which is not necessarily usual for kind of a musical theater song, unless you're doing like Little Night Music or something, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit unusual in that it is in 3, but the style is not super reflective of that. It's very like atmospheric and weird even though it is in 3. And when we have things in 3, we tend to think a certain feel or something. But and also our pit situation for Fun Home was pretty weird too, because we were in that little hollow behind, and we were all in a little line.
Who made that decision? Who demanded that?
Did you guys remember there was that one performance? None of you probably ever saw it, but for like 3 numbers, there was a bat just doing strafing runs over our head in that little hollow there, just like flying back and we're like ducking and playing the songs.
Oh my God.
That was a pretty unique experience. I mean, I've had bats on stage before, but it was just like back and forth, back and forth, back and forth over our heads.
That's crazy. Do you know, and anybody can chime in, was there a reason that Janine Testori decided to write that song in 3/4? Does anybody have an information on that? Courtney, anybody?
3/4 was traditionally a love song. 3/4 traditionally in opera and waltzes and things like that. It was traditionally a way to musically symbolize love. That's all I got.
I don't know anything factually about it, but my opinion on it is that having it in 3/4 has this momentum that 4 doesn't. And that's what that song is all about, is like falling headlong and having momentum. And that the 3/4 like so helps it so much to give it that sense, to have the music work with the words in that way.
Well said. That's beautiful.
Well said. Absolutely, both of you. So we're gonna try to move on a little bit because we're a little out of order from what we sent out. So Miss Anya, how are you doing?
Anya.
So
I'm doing pretty great.
You're doing pretty great. Well, you are pretty great. Steven just left, so he doesn't care. Whatever.
Steve, please.
I moved him. I got rid of him. I'll bring him back.
It's his car.
We're gonna Anya. So I want to ask you a question.
Hashtag where's Steve?
Where's Steve? I just
Listen, you should have saw him in an Elvis wig, a black Elvis wig last summer, trying to swing his hips. Courtney, he just was sad. We needed you. Anyway, we're gonna go back to Anya. Anya, so talk to us about. So you had a major song in this show, A Ring of Keys. Kind of looking at it now that you're 3-4 years away. What was the biggest challenge being so young? And that is a really heavy song. That is a really lot going on. And Courtney, maybe you want to chime in about like the direction of that song for that character to write such a kind of poignant, heavy piece for a young character. Anya, why don't you start? Tell us what was the challenge for you?
Well, I think a lot of times, it was a really interesting song to do because it's like very focused. And I feel like a lot of it, I just had to like think about like what I was seeing. And a lot of times I just had like the picture in my head of what this person looks like. And sometimes, I'm not exactly sure what I had trouble with. It was a long time ago, honestly. So, but I feel like,
so
I think, yeah, sorry.
Well, what would you do differently today if you had we're gonna see you in 2 minutes or less sing that song again. What would you do differently today than you did a few years ago?
I feel like I've probably improved as like an actor. So I think I feel like I can sometimes get into acting a little more. I'm not sure how I look on the video, but I think really like visualization helps me. So I think a lot of that, and maybe I feel like I try and like feel the character more instead of just like maybe feeling the song, like just like the whole part of it.
Great. Well, cool. So listen, we're gonna try. Hopefully this will work. I'm gonna share this video so we can see you. Everybody see lovely Anya. So we're gonna see a little bit or the whole song, Ring of Keys. And she's much taller now.
Someone just came in the door, like no one I ever saw before. I feel I don't know where you came from. I wish I did. I feel so dumb. I feel your swagger and you're wearing out the just right clothes. You're wearing your short hair and your dungarees and your lace-up boots and your keys out. Your ring of keys. I thought it was supposed to be wrong, but you seem okay with being strong. I want you're so. It's probably conceited to say, but I think we're like in a certain way. Your swagger and you're wearing at the just right clothes. You're wearing your short hair and your dungarees and your lace-up boots and your keys out. Your ring of keys. Do you feel my heart saying hi? In this whole luncheon net, why am I the only one who sees you're beautiful? No, I mean handsome. Your swagger and you're wearing at the just right clothes. You're wearing your short hair and your dungarees and your lace-up boots and your keys. Oh, your ring of keys. I know you. I know you. I know you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yay.
Oh, that was so good, Anya.
I'm gonna bring Steve
I
back
do
on.
want to say that now and 3 years ago that you are a brilliant actress, Anya, and you were wonderful to work with. And it is a really difficult song to do in the sense that you don't have a scene partner. And the way the show is, there's no, like, you're supposed to be in this restaurant or this diner and you're supposed to be seeing this person and none of it's there. The only way for the audience to see that story told is through your telling of it, through your rendition of the song, and by watching you and seeing what you are having us see. And you did it over and over again, and it's like a behemoth of a musical theater, like song in the canon, and you nailed it. So.
I was fortunate enough to be on stage with you every night, Anya, doing that song, and I didn't get to see as much of your face as I just did. And even seeing just 3/4 in the back of you was a masterclass in acting. You're brilliant then and
Thank
now,
you.
so thank you.
And you're so mean, Anya. You're just so terrible. Like, you're so kicking people. I heard you kick. Anyway, I tease. Listen, so we're going to move on. So Jamie Beth, how are you doing? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. I'm doing well. Thank you.
Yeah, well, so listen, you kind of have the most meta experience. We all had kind of this meta experience. We were doing a show about a town that the show took place in that town, and we're playing characters that were involved. You played a character that also performed on that stage in a different. And if you guys can see, I went through the book, and it is bringing it down. It is truly really remarkable. Like, this is Millbrook in the book. It's so cool. But you, so your character literally could have, where you sang your song, Helen Bechdel could have performed there. So did that inform you? Was that did you think about it? Was it anything?
Oh my gosh, did I think about it? I'm still thinking about it. Yeah, it was huge. I mean, especially because I had felt connected to this show for several different reasons before I was ever involved in a production personally. And yeah, like what a singular experience to what a meta singular experience to portray somebody as themselves in a place where they were portraying other people. I thought about it a lot, and it was crazy. Like I'd feel like I had to do a service to this woman who like meant a lot to a family, meant a lot to a community. And I'll never forget one night after a performance, somebody walked up to me and just said, "She was much paler than you." Like that was her. So it was just but like what a little nugget of like, nothing about like her character or anything, just those little things that they remembered of her. It's so cool.
Yeah, there were several people, and we all, I don't know if people came up to you, but I can't remember who it was. And if Michelle Crowell's listening, it might have been her father. There was a paramedic who like came up and said, "I'm the one who pronounced him dead on the road. Like I was the one there. I was the first person to see him." Like there were several people, Millie, who was on our board. Those either remember Millie, like he was my teacher. Like some of them, like John doesn't look a lot like him. And some people are like, he doesn't look like him. It's like, well, we're actually like, but people talk about Helen of being very kind of goth, I guess, for lack of a better word. So that's interesting. So does anybody else have an experience like that from an audience telling them anything?
One time oh, sorry, John.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say one time. I mean, obviously, I got into town earlier than I normally would, just so that I would have a couple days up top because I knew I wanted to run around and try to do some research like in the area, and so I tried to sort of contact as many people as I could and interview. And one time, this wasn't like planned at all. I was just at Sheets, like I always am, and there was a guy who was, and I just got to chatting him up, and he was asking what I was doing in town or whatever, and I told him, and he goes, "Oh yeah, Bruce is my teacher in high school. He was great." And I was like, "Cool. What else? You want to say more about that, or no? Just gonna get your coffee and go." So those kind of experiences. I mean, Jamie Beth, the fact that somebody could walk up to you after a performance and say, "She was much paler." Is that what they said?
Yes,
yeah,
I was.
She was
much paler.
Yeah, that's right. It's
Yeah.
just like fascinating, because when does that happen in our experience as musical theater actors?
Yeah.
People don't walk up and say, the real person was like, it's crazy. Sorry, John, I cut you off.
Oh no. I heard a lot of wonderful stories about Bruce and being a teacher and all that, and then frankly, someone came up to me and told me a couple not so wonderful stories about Bruce, and that was also very helpful to have both sides of the coin, because that's certainly part of the show. So it was great to have that.
Great. So Jamie Beth, you sent us a little your song "Days and Days." I realize some people that are watching may not have any idea. So set up the song a little bit for us.
Oh yeah, this is such a pivotal moment for Helen, Bruce's wife. She's been living a pretty quiet and contained and unfulfilled life as the wife of this man who, doesn't fully love her. They have a pretty unhappy and contentious marriage, but she's been holding it all together. And this is the first moment where she tells her oldest child, Allison, kind of what's been going on their whole lives.
Great. So hopefully this is going to work out. We're going to share this, and it's a little grainy, just so you know, but
sorry, that's me.
Welcome to our house on Maple Avenue. See how we polish and we shine. We rearrange and realign. Everything is balanced and days and days and days. That's how it happens. Days and days and days made made of lunches and car rides and shirts and socks and grades and piano, and no one clocks the day you disappear. Days and days and days, that's how it happens. Days and days and days, made of posing and bragging and fits of rage and boys. My God, some of them underage. And oh, how did it all happen here? There was a time your father swept me off my feet to words. We read books, strolled through Munich, that night drank beer with friends, discussed the places we would go. And he said I understood how the world made him ache. I know, that's how it happens. Days made of bargains I made because I thought as a wife I was meant to, and now my life is shattered and laid bare. Days and days and days and days and days and days and days. Welcome to our house on Maple Avenue. See how we polish and we shine. We rearrange and realign. Everything is balanced and serene. Like chaos never happens if it's never seen. Don't you come back here. I didn't raise you to give away your days like me.
And
Oh.
End of that song. Got me, man.
So how is it again? You guys, like, it's such a weird thing. Talk about meta again. Like, we're revisiting these songs, and I wanted you to do them. I didn't want to find clips. Steven has some beautiful video, but I love that, like, we're looking at them now. How was that different? Did it inform you any different stepping back from it?
Did me filming?
Yeah, sorry, Jamie Beth. I'm sorry, talking to you. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it was so different. Like, I remember, it's like when you have a problem that you can't solve, and then you do something else, and you're like, oh, like there were so many new things that came from like not having focused on it for a few years, and I'm not much older, but I'm a little wiser. So like just taking into consideration a few more life experiences was so different.
And let's be real. I think we all, like, Sam, you're not 41. Like, Anya was probably the right age. John, I'm not sure how old you are. Kaylee was probably, but like, so we're coming in at this. You all are coming this much younger than these characters were. And have a couple years much. John, I don't know how old you are, but we'll see.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
No,
you won't tell me.
He won't tell you. But so it's different being able to revisit it. In like 10 years time, you'll be able to do it again. So that's amazing. Ethan's back, our wonderful lighting designer. Hi, Ethan, welcome back.
Yay.
So Ethan, you've talked about this and people talked about it, because every once in a while I'll post I'll get nostalgic at night and I post another clip. You say this show is magical for you, and explain that to our audience. Can you hear me? Are you frozen? Is he frozen? I think he's frozen. It looks so weird.
He's
Tanya.
He was really
He
fooling
was
us,
really
too.
pondering it. We're all like, he's gonna do it. I think. Wait,
He's still pondering. Just let him go.
he's still pondering. Okay.
See ya.
Wow.
We lost him. So
He's coming back.
let's see. He's gonna come back. Are you back?
Hey.
Hi.
Hi.
I had to. Let's keep your fingers crossed. I switched browsers.
Okay. Damn StreamYard. Anyway, did you hear the question at all?
I did not.
So you talked about this show, and after doing, what did we say, 70 shows at Millbrook, and you talk about how this was magical, and a lot of people that have worked on the show said it was magical. Why was it so magical for you? What brought that magic?
You know, I talk about even now quite often to the people I work with down here. And I think it's because it's very rare you can do a show right where it takes place. I know earlier you were talking about, you know, rehearsing some scenes in that was the most ephemeral thing I've ever experienced. And it actually, as a designer, as a lighting designer, it's not like I could say, oh, this is how the room was shaped.
No. Got to get that Firefox, man.
Oh, I know. Listen,
He's got Frozen 1 and Frozen 2.
Google Chrome. Come on.
That Mozilla
While
Firefox.
we're waiting for Ethan to come back, a thing that I want to say, by the way, is it, you know, on the subject of magic, is I do think it also was a lot about the group of people coming together. You know what I mean? I feel as though just seeing you guys again, I mean, it was my pleasure, and I think about it all the time, and I try to think about it while I'm in the room, and most of the time I always come back and go, why didn't you know how good you had it when you had it, you know? But we had 2.5 sort of weeks together, and I do, David, I think it was a lot about this group of people were special, and that includes crew and entire creative team. In addition, everybody was everybody knew the sort of gravity of what it was we were doing, and it, as you so often do, David, you brought together magical people who were all trying to do good theater and to tell good stories. So I think that was a big part of it for me too.
Yeah, absolutely. And like even our Kenzie and Megan, like who were friggin' in it to win it. They were on it. They were like committed to it. They didn't, you know, they just, it was so important to them. And that's great. You know, and like, listen, I love as much that I love that the fact we were able to do Fun Home. I love the fact that we're able to tell that story, especially because, you know, we're here and usually doing summer stock lighter stuff, but I love it just as much as we do Little Mermaid or Mary Poppins. They're all should have the same integrity to the story, but there is definitely something unique about handling something that goes a little deeper, you know, so we get a chance to do that. And I think that's special. And then again, to be the regional premiere, even though screw Sam French that did not let us say we did the regional premiere, we did the regional premiere.
The truth is there.
The truth is there. So
we know.
We know.
I say it.
We say it. And listen,
can I tell you a funny story?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's just real quick, but one time, so I worked the box office at New York Theater Workshop, just like I'm there like once a month. And one time I was there and Sam Gold came up to the window and I was like, hey,
wow,
you're Sam Gold. And he was like, yeah. I was like, listen, so funny story, Sam. I was the second person to direct Fun Home. It went you, and then technically went me, Sam. And he was like, how do you figure? I told him. And he was like, that's weird. How was it? And I was like, it was weird, dude. And he was like, and then he walked away and like watched whatever show it was. But anyway, I had that conversation.
Listen, I'll tell you all a small weird story about Beth Malone and how she got the role, how meta that was. And I'll tell you if we have time later. I know we're running a little long, but so we're gonna, Kaylee, I wanted to ask you. So you are known as the local belter, the local, like you were Dorothy. She was a mere 18, my first summer.
A mere 18.
A mere 18 auditioned and she blew me away and played Dorothy Gale in this crazy production of Wizard of Oz, literally the very first show I did. And then
Yes,
Kaylee,
it was.
yes. So you know, and you've been on the cruise ships for how many years singing, and your voice is friggin' ridiculous. You guys should hear her lately. Like, Kaylee's remarkable.
Thank you.
But so then you get cast in this role where you don't really rely on your voice. Like, it's nothing about that. What was different for you to take on this kind of role?
Yeah, I think because Joan isn't in the musical a big role, but she is. She's important. She's not like in the show a lot. And the only time I sang was in Raincoat of Love. But it was one of the only like non-musical roles that I've played. And also being based on a real person was really, really different from, you know, things I've played in the past. I'm usually like more comic relief characters, or like, you know, I'm used to like using facial expressions for like comedy and all that stuff. And like, I had to rely solely on dramatic acting, being myself, you know? And it was very different. And like,
were you more relaxed because of that? Did you feel less stress? Like you don't have to deal with that like whole part of, you know, you still have to prepare, you still have to do that, but you're not belting your face off.
Yeah, I think it was harder because a lot of times like scenes go into songs. So you have like this moment where you just erupt into song, but I didn't have that. Really, the end of my scene was me falling asleep.
Yeah.
So it made me rely so much on my acting abilities and not my singing acting abilities, which I'm so used to playing characters that sing most of the time.
It cracks me up because musical theater actors are always really like Sam Carroll, you case in point, like I cast you in a farce. You're like, you want me to do a play?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, like it's the same thing. Like, why the hell not? Like, you know, some people get so, and then we rely, you know, like I direct musicals, I direct plays, like, you know, and Courtney, you've bounced back and forth mostly doing musicals, but you've directed some plays, and it's the same chops. Musicals obviously take such a bigger, you know, amount of people and a lot more more parts of it, but it's the same thing. And I love when actors do that. And I love, you know, my little personal joy, like Alex Frost, your twin, you know, the first show she did here was a play and was delightful in it. And, you know, why not? So, you know,
it's a completely different beast, honestly, but then it's not at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, I guess for us, like I'm so used to doing musicals.
Yeah.
So it was really interesting going into a role that was more kind of serious, but also a little sarcastic.
Yeah.
It was more like not like I wasn't playing character.
And I would also, you know, Fun Home is an interesting musical too, in the sense that and I don't know, actors, what do you feel about this? But certainly from a directorial standpoint, it does feel like Fun Home, it's either that it gets directed in its own way, like it's its own kind of genre in many ways, or it feels like a bit of a bridge between, like, it's like you ask the question, are we doing a play or are we doing a musical? There's not that in so many book musicals. There's that moment where like, and we're done talking now, and then the accompaniment starts, and then
now
we're
we're
singing a song proper. You know, Fun Home is as much operetta as it is play, as it is like sort of book musical. It's really a beautiful example of the form that requires sort of different tools that we're not always called on to provide.
And it's not quite a play with music because there's a little more. So
there's too much. Yeah, there's so much music.
So speaking of somebody who had, like, you know, had to rely on his charm and good looks, Mr. Stephen is. So now, you know, Stephen famously, those of you that are watching, if there's anybody watching, I have no idea, know that Miss Alison Bechtel came and saw the show, which we were all like thrilled about. and we did a talk back after, which is something she normally wouldn't do. She's very shy. And we have an opportunity to ask a question. And what did Stephen ask Alison Bechtel? Anybody? Do you remember?
No, but it was probably something stupid.
It was stupid.
It was not stupid.
It was a little. It was like,
I was like,
Stephen?
hey, do you remember Roy? Can you tell
Stephen,
me
we
about
can't
Roy?
hear you.
Oh, wait.
I could hear
Really?
Oh, I can hear you.
You can hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, great. I was like, because everyone always talks about the family, but no one really talks about Roy, the babysitter. So I was like, hey, I play Roy. What can you tell me about Roy? It was like just something like that. And then she actually she gave us a really cool story after that. She told the story of she drew a clown and gave it to Roy, and she was like, I'm going to buy this off you, or something like that. It was just like a cute story about Roy the babysitter, and I was glad to hear it at the
So,
time.
Stephen, your question is, if you had anything you could ask Roy, what would you ask Roy?
Oh, was that it?
Like, if you met Roy today, what would you ask Roy?
Oh, wow.
Where is Roy?
Where is Roy?
Where is Stephen?
Where is Roy? That's going to be the next musical. What would
Well, in the graphic novel, he's very handy with tools. So I'd ask him if he can like fix my toilet or something. Not like I don't know what I would want to ask him besides his side of the story, of course.
Yeah.
Like specifically, I guess like if it was love or if like he was actually in love with Bruce, if that kind of feeling, that amorousness actually ever came in, or if it was just a fun hookup with the kid you babysit's parents.
It's a little creepy, but cool. So, Stephen, you're now supposed to. You didn't record yours, and you were going to prepare. Are you prepared to sing "Raincoat of Love"?
I'm always prepared, baby.
You're always prepared to do it. Wait, I don't know how to make Stephen bigger, but I guess I can't do that. Wait, no. Oh, look at it. Oh, it's a whole.
Look at us.
Look at now we're bigger.
Look at us.
And Stephen went away. So it's hard to sing backup. Like I was gonna try. I asked Kaylee and Stephen, like, could you guys do like a cool like soft rock jam to "Raincoat of Love" all the 70s, but they just couldn't get it together. So
it's hard virtually.
I know.
Yeah, I can't do that.
Yeah.
But so we can all like bop along with Stephen. So Stephen's gonna sing us some "Raincoat of Love" with his guitar.
All right. The sheet music had no chords, so I did my best.
Woo.
All right, guys, backup singers, are we ready? If you remember your part.
Nope.
Okay, great. Improvise along. Here we go. Today I woke up with a feeling that I did not recognize. Whoa, our happy life seemed far away and everything was made of lies.
Lies, lies.
Sky was looking dark when, baby, I looked in your eyes. And that's when I knew, oh, yeah, everything's all right, babe, when we're together.
When we're together.
Like a raincoat made out of love. Magic shield of love, protecting me from bad weather. You are like a raincoat made out of love. A raincoat of love, 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 love. Everything's alright, babe, when we're together. 'Cause you are like a raincoat made out of love. Magic shield of love, protecting me from bad weather. Oh, you are like a raincoat made out of love. A raincoat of love. Ba 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 ba. Ba 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 ba. Ba 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 ba. Ba 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 ba. Everything's all right.
Everything's all right. Everything's all right.
All right.
Yay, Steven.
Thank you, guys.
That was great.
Woohoo. So listen, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to bring Ethan vocally back on. Ethan, can you hear us?
Hi, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, so we're going to get you to answer your question, and then we're going to move on because I know we're running a little long. I want to bring on to our last song after this. But Stephen, we were going to answer the question, why was this so magical? What was so different about it for you?
You know, it was definitely taking place in where it happened. But also, ironically, almost 1 year prior, almost to the date, I had seen Fun Home on Broadway shortly before it closed. And I said, I want to do this show. And when I found out we got the rights, I was like, wait, there's no way. And then for it to also be my last show to do with this theater, and particularly with Courtney before I left, it definitely made it kind of the highlight, going out on the high. The last thing Alicia and I did before we moved, the very last thing we did before we got in our cars to leave, was we saw the performance where Alison Bechtel came and did the talkback. The next morning, we loaded up our cars and moved all the way down to Florida.
Wow. Amazing. Amazing. And we miss you, Ethan, all the time. I mean, like, I always, like, the non-theater people out there, the programming the lights part of it, Ethan can program a musical number faster than anybody ever met.
And I'm much faster now.
I know. You got all that fancy equipment now. If you go on to their website, again, tell what theater you're working for now, Stephen.
Oslo Repertory Theater.
Yeah.
Ooh, Scandinavian.
Yes. So I hope somebody's leaving us a message. Hi, Michelle. I'll read it after. All right. So Ethan, we're going to keep you on as long as we can. So we're going to, next up, I'm going to talk to John. John, how are you?
I'm well.
Good. So we don't know how old you are, but
I don't either.
But we do know you're probably, so Bruce died at 44. And he was a closeted gay man, or kind of coming out gay man. Yeah. And I think I'm okay to say that you have a husband. You are living openly and out.
Yes. My wonderful husband, Joel.
Hi, Joel. So what do you think, what do you think it would have been like in 1979, 1978 to be a gay man living in this area? How would it have been for you just now? How would you have reacted to that?
So the homosexual revolution and the sexual revolution in general was in high speed in the 70s, and there was a lot happening. And you know, when Bruce brought his children to Greenwich Village and did go out and meet people during Fleet Week, I assume. I mean, I can't imagine going from this small town in Pennsylvania and then going to New York City. And I think that he loved Helen in many ways, but I don't think he was necessarily bisexual. I think he was more homosexual. And I can't imagine what that would have been like for him to just repress that much and yet have so much love for his children and for his wife and for his house, of course. But it just would have been exhausting and would have been mentally draining, physically draining.
And Sam, tying you and Courtney into this a little bit. So like, there's a lot of people who do not, and a lot of people locally who do not believe that he killed himself. They don't believe it. And that is truly Alison's take on the situation. Sam, how much did that, like, you and Courtney and John, what did you guys discuss about that moment? Because it's a really big moment when that truck comes out, and it was beautifully lit and beautifully staged and beautifully sung. It was such a wonderful moment, that like coming down. And Sam, what was your take on this? What was Alison's take on this? Why did she out her father like this? Why did she say that, according to you, as Alison?
I feel like, well, we all talked about it, and you know, I heard even there might have been like a walkout at one point of somebody who's saying he didn't kill himself and just left. But I feel like, Allison, also being closeted gay woman, really was tormented on the inside as well. And I think she saw that in her father, and she may, I don't know, this is just me, she may have had suicidal thoughts as well along the way because of how she was feeling. So I think her talking about her dad doing it, I think she wanted the town to know. I think she wanted the world to know, and maybe to also like put not so much shame on it that, it obviously it's not okay to do that, but I'm just saying like,
well, not a shame about him being
forgive
gay.
him a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a great scene where Medium Allison writes to her parents, and Bruce responds to her in actually a great way. But the way the scene is, Medium Allison doesn't know that Bruce is gay, and so there's this rather huge divide and disconnect. And if you go back and sort of look at that scene where Bruce is sort of describing like he's never been a hero, maybe he should do things differently, and then Medium Allison says, he doesn't get it. If you flip the scene, it's a brilliant scene of how this man had to just repress himself, and how the flip side is Medium Allison is finding her sexuality in college, and it's this beautiful, amazing scene that I invite you all to look at again.
What I will also say is, from a storytelling standpoint, when we talk about like how the three of us, how John and Sam and I talked about this stuff, but there are many aspects in this show, and really other shows too, but this show especially because we were doing it in the town where it happened, etc., and we had talked to so many people about sort of their take on it. One way or another, anybody else's take on what they felt about Bruce was not the story we were telling. The story we were telling was Allison's story.
Mhm.
Yep.
And that was Allison's truth. We know it
Mhm.
because she told us. And so,
Yep.
and it's a memory play. This is a musical version of it. It's like a classic memory play. The whole play is Allison getting out, sort of exercising and working through on paper first, and then adapted to a musical, but working through these memories and her recollection and what that means for who that made her and who she wants to be. So one
Yes.
way or another, what we were doing was telling Allison's truth.
Mhm.
So and any other notion on what may have happened was not the story we were telling.
Right.
And so the song I had John and Sam do was Telephone Wire, which I knew was going to be hard because it's my favorite moment. And I remember, Courtney, you coming up, you talking, it might have been even off the cuff, but like, I guess on Broadway, Telephone Wire the show was in the round, and they had a hydraulic system where the car just literally revolved. And you're like, what the hell are we going to do? It's going to, they're going to be bored. And it was simple but effective, and it was a tie-in of directing, acting, lighting, set, of course sound and band and all that too, but like it was a simple platform that glowed underneath. And sometimes the most basic theatrics are always the most gorgeous moments to me. Like something as simple as like that moment that you don't need hydraulics to do.
Right.
You don't need. So we're gonna do a little Telephone Wire. Let's make sure I can get it set up. And
Oh, my favorite.
is there any setup you want to do to this song, you guys?
I learned a lot with Sam making this video for a virtual performance because it's a duet, and we made a video duet, and it was fun.
Bravo.
Right. So let me. It's playing.
Telephone wire, run and run. Telephone wire, sundown on the creek, partly frozen.
I can't hear it.
Like you could say, so how does it feel to know that you and I are both?
Hey,
Yeah.
where do you want to go? I know a bar. Kind of hidden away. CD club. For folks like, it'd be fun.
Dad, I'm not 21.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Telephone wire, long black line. Telephone wire, finally threaded sky. There's the pond where I went waiting. There's a sign for Sugar Valley. On the mountain, light is fading. I go back to school tomorrow. Say something, talk to him. Say something, anything. At the light, the light, the light of the light. At the light, the light, the light, at the light. Doesn't matter what you say. Just make the fear in his eyes go away.
There was a boy in college. My first year there. Morris Jones. He had black wavy hair. Morris Jones. Where is he now? 14 years old. In Swenson's barn. It was cold. Lots of boys messed around, for them. It was a game they outgrew. I always knew.
Dad, me too. Since like 5, I guess. I preferred to wear boy shirts and pants. I felt absurd in a dress. I really tried to deny my feelings for girls, but I was like you, Dad, me too.
Morris Jones.
Dad.
Morris Jones.
Dad.
Did I mention I've taken on a new project? The old house on Route 150, you've seen it, Al. It's been sitting empty out there for 40, 50 years at least.
Telephone wire. Stop too fast. Telephone wire. Make this not the past. This car ride. This is where it has to happen. There must be some other chances. There's a moment I'm forgetting where you tell me to see me. Say something. Talk to me. Say something. Anything. At the light. At the light. This can't be our last.
That was fun. It's earlier than I thought. You coming in?
Telephone wire. That was our last
Yay! Hey, Sam.
So great, guys. Thank you so much. We're gonna try to wrap this up in a minute. I know we're going a little long and we started a little late, but thank you so much. We didn't get Dane on, and I'm really bummed. But I wanted to ask everybody, who was the most popular person in the cast?
Steve.
Moi?
Wait, I know we're running. This is very fast, and it's the epitome of fun home. So Courtney, we love her to death. We do like to rehearse a lot, which is great.
Yeah.
But the opening scene, the whole Welcome to Our House on Maple Avenue, there's millions of things happening, and we wanted to get it just perfect, and doing over and over, trying different ways. And Steve, comes in at the end. He's supposed to be a photographer, and he's supposed to say, he has one line, and it's, anybody home? And we're running this over and over and over. And so Steve is kind of half paying attention because he's not doesn't do it every time because we're running the beginning part over and over. So finally, we get to his part, and if you guys have seen the show, which I imagine you have, if you've seen this, Allison, adult Allison, over and over is, reading her graphic novel. I brought it back. And she is saying over and over caption, and she is just saying this. She's setting the scene every time with caption. And so we're running this, welcome to our house on Maple, whatever it is. Steve, Courtney is like very intense, looks at Steve, who's coming down right from the center of the audience, and he goes, caption, as if it is his line. He does not, no one but adult Allison says that in the entire show. And Steve took the liberties to say, caption, and Courtney's like, are you freaking kidding me, man?
I have to say that whole rehearsal for that hour and a half, so I was going through my other lines, and I gotta say, I was kind of confused as to why I was there that day, because I'm like, I'm not in this scene. And I was like, all right, Steve, and now you go. I was like, And then I see the line, is anyone home? That I guess reading it, I just forgot that line was there, so I was like, all right, okay. So I was like, let me memorize it. Okay, so
just one line.
So it's like, so Sam says caption, and that's my cue to say, is anyone home? So I'm like, all right, caption, line. Caption, line. So I'm like walking down, I'm like, when she says caption, it was like caption.
But it was also certainly the best one we had ever done. So Courtney was like, yes, yes. And Steve's like, caption. And she's like,
but it was like.
Do you want to know what's especially funny about this right now in this moment? I can't, ever since Steve's song "Raincoat of Love" like 20 minutes ago, I can't hear Steve. I hear everybody else. I can't hear Steve. So it's like my iPad has like melded with my brain going just shushy Steve. I have no idea.
I cannot hear.
I have no idea what you said just now, but I bet it was really funny. I bet
it was very funny. We'll fill you in. We'll go back.
Okay, great.
And from my perspective, I felt like Dane was like the coolest kid in the cast. Dane just like had this like, I'm doing show, I could give a shit. He was just like, you should have saw him 5 years earlier. He was a munchkin. He's the cutest kid in the world. But now he's doing sports. He's a little too cool for school. But we'll harass him. Ethan,
I think Anya took care of Jamie Beth and me. I mean, she was a better parent to us than we were to her. So yes. Thank you, Anya.
We did lose Joey again too, but Ethan, I know you wanted to go back and talk a little bit about the lighting moment for Telephone Wire, and then I want to.
Yeah.
I have two more questions, and we're going to wrap you guys up because I know we're running a little.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, going back to that idea of how are we going to make this interesting when we don't have a turntable going around, and that idea that Courtney and the rest of the design team. We were all on board with kind of making this otherworldly thing happen when Allison was in her head saying, this is what I want to tell everyone. But then bringing it back into the reality of them in the car together, having these headlights pass through them. What is that telling as they go through on this journey? And I think it was one of the moments that was kind of, if I were to say, if I were to pick a moment of the show that really helped isolate what our design style was and what our aesthetic was, I think that was a perfect moment to show that. So it shows the collaboration, and it shows the kind of melding of the minds and trust we had in that design team, which I think made this show so special.
Yeah, and I love it. There's two moments, and I put that clip in last week. That were my favorite, like goosebump moments. It's the opening when everybody comes on stage and sets the set, and then it's also that moment when the platform glows. And that's the Courtney Lane magic. She can take the most simplest theatrical moment, and it's like you're just setting furniture, and it just times so well. Like you just like know how to time it. I'm like, all she freaking did was put furniture on stage, and it just gave me goosebumps every time.
I didn't know that they were doing it. I knew that they were running that quickly, but I was like having a diva moment. I didn't move any furniture.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's right. And seeing the video, it was like I thought they were all on fast forward. They were moving so fast.
And that's why I posted it, because I'm like, and Steven gave me those video clips, and it's like such a weird angle. It's so hard to get good video in this building because of our wonderful beams.
That was beautiful.
But he just got a really great, and I shared Courtney's reel from her directing website because it's so beautiful, and you guys do such a great job. So I want to talk about this one moment. I want you to share with me what that meant.
Oh.
What this moment meant to y'all. What was that like? And Michelle had asked earlier, like, Sam was so nervous about meeting her.
Yes. I mean, I'm a very anxious person, as probably anybody who's ever met me knows. Finding out that she was coming at all was unbelievable, but I'm proud of myself. I really, tuned it out. I said, it's just like we've rehearsed. It's every other show. And I think it went really well, which is very great. But afterwards, I just was like, because it was really a bigger thing than I ever realized it would be, with her and everybody being there. And the most people I've ever seen on the main stage in the audience was amazing.
Yeah.
But I didn't know what to say, because it's like, you just want to do it justice. This is not only something she wrote and like she collaborated with on the musical, but like this is her. This is her story. And I in no way can understand anything that she has gone through and continues to go through, being very different types of people. But I have so much respect for her, and I was so nervous to meet her. I was like having a panic attack. My parents were like, "You need to say hello. She's here." So eventually I did, and I was crying, and there's pictures. She was wonderful and lovely, and was not fazed by me being weird.
And she wrote about it too. There's she was interviewed after, like, pretty recently after our production, and she talked about it. She said the theater in my hometown did it. And she talked about that it was this surreal experience, and that she really loved it, and you know what I mean? It was a wonderful thing. Yeah. Have you guys seen that interview?
No.
I'll share it. I'll share it with you. It's really
Look at those muscles, Courtney.
Yes.
And this is a picture, everybody that's watching, that's in Allison's house. That's in the house. That's the cast in the house.
That was the weirdest. Oh, I love that so much.
Yeah.
Those in the house.
I have a couple.
I don't know if everyone knows this, but we stayed, the people watching, we stayed in the house. We stayed over the house, like
tons of
2 nights.
Like 25 people.
There were so many people in that house.
I know.
It was incredible.
So that picture there is the markings on the wall as the kids grew up. That's where they marked where they grew up. Let me see if I have another.
It's weird. Sorry.
Yeah, I still think the coolest, and I know you mentioned this earlier, John, was finding the etchings basically from within the what would have been the wet cement of the 3 kids' names. It was as we were exploring the house that first night, it was kind of like finding a treasure trove of these little things. Even just the colors of the wallpaper and whatnot. I know things have changed some since they lived there, but it still went back to what that house was in its heyday.
Yes.
There also was like fan energy in it. Sorry, I remember like noting. I remember John saying that, and I felt it too. Like there was definitely some sort of like.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's the house. That's the fun home.
I was just gonna say, Damien, our sound designer, is watching right now. He just chatted at us.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. Hi, Damien.
Damien.
We love
Yes.
There's Damien. So guys, we've gone a little longer than I wanted. We started a little later. I appreciate. I hope there's still people watching. We still have a few people. So this was a wonderful. Thank you guys for taking the time to do this. And I wanted to do it during June during Pride Month, and I just didn't get it together. It's been a weird time, but we're very proud. Millbrook is, we're in a very crazy time in our world where not a lot of people are supporting each other, but the arts always supports everybody. And Millbrook, for this little, barn in the middle of the mountains, is always very open, and all are always welcome. So on your best pitch, this is our telethon moment. Tell us why everybody should donate to the arts, and hopefully specifically today to Millbrook Playhouse, because y'all know I swear it's fucking tough right now, and it's I've talked to it's tough for you guys because you're out of work. There is no money coming in. There is not, we're all going to barely make it by, and what we need is donations. And I've been lack to beg, but we're getting to the point where people are coming back to normal. And if we want to have Millbrook around, if we want to have more Millbrooks, if we want to have jobs, people need to support. And unfortunately, we can't sell tickets. So tell us why you think we should support the arts.
I'll beg.
Go ahead, Kaylee.
So I obviously grew up in this town, and I started doing shows at Millbrook at 5 years old. And it is legitimately the first and only place until college that made me who I am today, made me the performer I am, who I am today. And I have met some of the most amazing people here, and I would not be the person artistically and socially who I am today. So please, if Millbrook ever shut down, that literally would be like the end of my world. Like, Millbrook is one of my favorite places. It is where I grew up and where I met the most amazing people in my life. So
It is your fun home.
It's a fun home.
Anybody else? Throw it out there.
I'll beg too. We come to the theater because we want to feel something. It's a two-way street. It's a communication between the artist and the audience that sometimes movies get right, but there's just nothing like a live performance. I remember being backstage with the opening number of Fun Home, just bawling. It was it was the I Want to Play Airplane, and I'm in the show. I'm bawling.
We know what's happening. We're bawling.
I know what's happening next. But Anya's saying, I want to play Airplane. And I'm like, why won't my dad love me? But here I am. No, my dad loves me very much. But there's this awakening in there's a cry when you know why you're crying. But it was the Denzel Washington, just tears are just streaming down. And I was just like, I wasn't like, but I was literally just watching and just Niagara Falls, just stone face. And I was like, what is happening to me?
Yeah.
And so theater is a lot cheaper than therapy. That's why you should donate to arts, because because we make great shows and we form communities of people, and it deserves to keep on going. And if you come to the theater, you'll experience it for yourself.
I feel that hanging up a Black Lives Matter sign matters. I feel that going to a high school football game matters, but I feel that pride matters. But New York City pride doesn't matter as much to me as a smaller community needs to express their pride, needs to express Black Lives Matter, needs to express these things. When we have a smaller regional company expressing what it does every summer in the many different ways that it does, that place is much more important than some of the Broadways and Hollywoods of the world, because that is where the people connect on a night-by-night basis, and that is where you should put your dollars.
And those people need to hear those stories.
Yes.
These small town people need to hear these stories.
And I just want to say that, a lot of people, a lot of this country is starting to reopen slowly, but we were the first to close and we will be the last to reopen.
Yeah.
And right now, more than anything, there are hundreds of thousands of us out of work. There are organizations closing left and right, and it's so sad to see. And it really, we need the community support to keep the arts alive and to keep the arts in a state where it can flourish in the future.
And obviously, I'm shilling for Millbrook because I love I'd like to have a job and keep this open, but like everywhere, and we need to get you guys back to work. We need to get people, on their cruise ship. We need to get people, to, the livelihoods going so we can have this happen again. So wear your masks. Please wear your masks.
Wait,
Where are your damn masks?
Who is that?
Courtney.
Me, Courtney.
Oh, yeah. You're frozen a little bit, so I didn't see you.
Oh no, am I? Can you?
Now
hear
you're
me?
moving. You're moving.
Okay. I just was gonna say that no matter what, as we come out of this as a theater industry, we're going to have to we're going to go through some sort of rebirth, and how, a thing that I always like to think about is from the dawn of civilization, storytelling has been at the core of what it means to be human.
Mhm.
Telling stories is how we learn. It is how we grow. It is how we understand ourselves and who we are and what we want to be. Theater is the most intimate touch point of that kind of storytelling. You literally show up in a place and you watch people do it and you watch it happen in the moment. One way or another, we're going to have to rebuild the entire industry, and I can't wait to find out what that looks like. It needs, frankly, it needs a lot of rebuilding, and but how we rebuild is going to be largely one of those huge factors is going to be what resources do we have or don't have. And theater has always relied upon its connection to its community. So it's not just about what theater people do, it's how we all connect together. Literally everybody in a community connects together to sort of make that happen. So I'm excited about that. And excited to see what comes from that.
Absolutely. Well, you all, I so appreciate you joining. Sorry for everybody out there watching. Thank you for watching us. I hope there still are, we're thrilled. We want to do more of these. We hopefully are going to do a little bit of live stuff. We're going to try a couple things. Millbrook, we're doing some camps. Again, as things stay safe, so wear your mask so we can keep doing little things here and there. I'd love to bring you all up. We could do stuff in the courtyard. Come on up, do a one-person show in the courtyard. We could set, it's open air.
I'm 5 minutes away, baby.
We're 5 minutes
Chips and chips and chips.
Hard for me to remember the real words to that song.
But we really appreciate you, and we appreciate our audiences and our patrons. And please, keep, all our, obviously our first responders and everybody that's been helping us get through this crazy time. But remember our artists. There would be no Netflix.
They are also, yes.
There would be no songs. There would be none of that entertainment to keep us through. Many of those writers on all those wonderful shows on TV came from the theater. Mm-hmm. We want to see the movie version of Fun Home.
Ooh, yeah.
Keep hope, because
it's coming.
What's his name? What's his name is playing Bruce? Jake Gyllenhaal.
Jake Gyllenhaal.
Right.
He's Jake Gyllenhaal.
John
Tedeschi is playing Bruce on the movie.
Oh my God, I know him.
You didn't know him? Yeah. And they actually, just our last little anecdote, they, Allison and Lisa, right? Lisa Crone came by last summer. They were hanging out and they did a tour. We were in the middle of rehearsal and so maybe we'll get in the movie too. Who knows?
Maybe.
Anyway, Roy.
Maybe what? You know what? She said she loved me. She was like, you? What? She was like, you were wonderful. I was like, thank you, Allison. And then we fist bumped, exploded, and then I went on my way. It was great. After that was true, it's your job to decide which part is the untrue part. The explosion or the compliment.
Oh my God.
I feel like the explosion. Anyway, guys, again, so we're going to sign off. Thank you so much. And we love you. Be safe. Be well. We can't wait to see you back on stage, any stage. We bless you. And thanks, everyone. Thank you for watching.
Thank you all so much.
Good to see you guys.
Good to see everybody.
Bye.
Bye. And